Wagwan people, you're back in the cup with the TBH podcast. It's your boy Shaq, aka Django Jr. You know what the deal is. I'm here with my boy
Fred Smiley here. You know what time it is. Let's go.
And of course, down at the bottom.
Hey, what's going on, people? I'm at the top of my screen. I don't know why. You know what it is?
See, the thing is, the way it'll work, it'll be where I say it is. So that's where you are.
All right, then.
So
All right.
state your name here and say hello to the Nickbacks.
It's your boy Michael. You know, you know what it is. Yeah, but it's hot today. If you don't know, it's 33 degrees out in the streets. I'm struggling. I've got my fan here.
That's it.
I'm seeing black man walk around with sunburn and everything. It's so hot outside, bro. But yeah, today we got a very, 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 very special guest. He's a good friend of Fred, Mr. Smiley's. He's a dancehall artist. He pops the locks. He's the real deal as well. Because we all three of us actually have listened to his bars as well. This guy goes off. So welcome, our guy Pierre. Big round of applause for Pierre, the artist, man life.
Yes, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, good to have you here as well, man. Because we hadn't had a guest in time, as well. It's been a hot minute since we had a guest on. But so today we're all gonna talk about like just childhood and just funny stuff growing up and stuff. But first, wanted to touch on a few things. First off, just a reminder. I feel like I might just start reminding people every episode. Black lives still matter. It's not ended yet. Black lives still matter. So obviously, I guess the biggest talking point of kind of this week or like the weeks that have gone was the BBC and just their kind of like just. Do you know what? It's not even when BBC do stuff. I just don't get surprised anymore. Like, I'm just never surprised. It's so. Just for context, so it starts off first off. I guess really, the first mishap they had recently was with Wiley. So obviously Wiley said had his thing on Twitter with his anti-Semitic comments and kind of like, just like. By the way, Wiley is definitely our Kanye. He's our Kanye. He's the UK's Kanye.
In the UK, yeah.
He just says madness. It just says madness.
He's a bit mad.
In that, okay,
yeah. 100.
He's unprovoked. Yeah, unprovoked. Yeah.
Unprovoked madness.
So obviously Wiley got cancelled. He lost pretty much everything. I think he's been taken off YouTube, banned from YouTube, banned off Twitter, banned off Instagram.
But you've seen how controversial that is, though, right? Because people are saying that these social media platforms were so fast to remove Wiley when you've had people like Katie Hopkins openly making racial slurs for years, and it took so long before they removed her from whatnot. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was just bare controversial. People had different things to say and whatnot.
Bro, she got her own TV show at one point. This is the mad thing. She had her own TV show at one point.
Exactly. Like, I think it's a matter of. I think we have to get past the point of like, well, actually, what I mean is, I don't think people hear what we say about this and think, why are you backing Wiley? It's not about backing Wiley. What we're saying is, whatever Wiley's done, and what Katie Hopkins have done, she should have the same punishments that he's getting. Because she's been doing it for 5-10 years on Twitter, doing this kind of stuff, and she's only just been taken off Twitter. So I think it's a.
Then the argument could be made that, for example, when Wilfred Zaha got racially abused over social media recently, the argument people have people recently have been getting at these social media platforms to take faster action quicker.
Yeah.
So now that Wiley thing has happened, I guess they've just listened to everyone and just done the maximum. I'm deleting them off everything. I mean, I mean, they should have been doing that from early, but now that we're in a time where the racial tension is so high, I feel like they've just decided to draw the line and say, yo, any little thing, you're off every platform. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I hear that.
I just feel like,
but then I feel like
he caught it at a bad time.
I feel like if you set that precedent though, it shouldn't just happen to Wiley. It should be anyone that you've taken off any platform for any reason. They should get, if any harmful towards a community or whatever, just take them off everything then. So Katie Hopkins should be getting taken off and stuff. Tommy Robinson should be getting taken off.
Yeah. But it just shows you how powerful. Obviously, I'm not agreeing with what Wiley said, but it does show you how powerful and what Wiley is saying the community is, because you can say what you want about black people, but the Jewish community, you can't say anything. Even in history in schools, I learned about the Jewish community. I learned all about the Jewish stuff in school. You know what I mean? I went to school trips. You know what I mean? Concentration camps and stuff. Whereas with black community, you don't really know about black history in schools. So it just shows you the power. And that's what he was saying. He's not saying, obviously he took it back with him saying he generalized. He shouldn't have generalized everyone. But he was talking about obviously his manager and stuff messing him about, who happened to be Jewish as well. So he should just blame it on the person, not use the Jewish. But Jewish people are powerful.
You should never generalize thing based on your experience with one person. He's not wrong in the fact that the Jewish community has kind of contributed to a lot of stuff. If there was no like strong Jewish community building up musical theatre, none of us would be working in a job right now. Like the whole theatre industry is built off the backs of like
music industry,
Jewish men.
You know, film industry, like they own a lot.
Yeah,
they own a
lot.
You know?
So it's not wrong. It's just I think whenever you negatively generalize people, or just maybe just generalizing in general, I think it's always just a bad look. But yeah, so basically he got rightfully kicked off of everything. And then, so this isn't really BBC, but I can't remember what newspaper it was. I think it might have been the Sun or the Mirror or something.
I think it might have been Guardian, bro.
It might have been Guardian.
Yeah, Guardian.
But it was some breeder racist, and they took a picture of, they put a picture up of Kano as Wiley. They did an article on Wiley. Bro, they did a whole article that Wiley's done. And at the bottom of the picture,
I didn't see it, bro.
The picture is Kano.
Yo, do you know what's funny, yeah?
When I go on my phone,
tell me that is a mistake either.
Exactly.
That is not a mistake.
Because
if you Google Wiley, there are no pictures of him.
Exactly.
No flipping Chucky on Lighter. Chucky on Lighter, the funniest thing, yeah, on Halfcast. He said that the thing that vexed, he was like, I saw them lot put a picture of Kano, yeah, and it vexed me. You know what vexed me? The fact that Wiley's got like a 3 on top and Kano's got a skin fade. How do you get that mixed up? I was crazy.
I saw that still.
I was busting out. I said, oh my days. But then apparently the flipping, the don that wrote the article apparently doesn't control the pictures. So his job is just to write the article, send it to the press, and they do their thing. So obviously he's come out now.
That's fact. That is fact. The person that writes the article doesn't get the final say. That's the problem. You can write a nice article about someone. Once it gets the final editing, they have nothing to do with it. It's really bad. It's really bad. It's just like Stormzy and Lukaku.
Yeah. Stormzy and Lukaku. BBC, when Kobe Bryant died, showed the LeBron James highlights. So it's all mad. So that's a segue into BBC and what they've done now. So I think on 2 separate occasions, I think they've had white broadcasters say the N-word live on TV, and I think what happened was that obviously there was a big uproar on Twitter, and BBC kind of defended it for a while, like a few days, and then kind of went back and it was like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have defended it. But so like people like Sideman, I don't know his name. Is it David? I think his name is David Haynes or something. I don't know his name. But yeah, so he was a Radio 1 Extra DJ. He's cut. He's like, I'm not effectively immediately. I'm gone. I just wanted to open this kind of like conversation of like, what is it accidents, or is it just generally on purpose, like trying to trigger, like, do you know what I mean? Is it like, I feel like it's like gaslighting kind of bull.
It has to be on purpose. It has to, because it's like, where's that they come with like they have such a history that there's no way that you can think it's okay to say that, let alone on the news live with people watching, the whole nation watching. Do you know what I mean? I just think it has to be premeditated, I think.
Yeah, that's what I feel as well. And I just feel like with the amount of times that like these are like big ass institutes. BBC is massive. The fact that they can't go to their archives and look up Kobe Bryant and not come back with Kobe Bryant videos, that baffles me. No. How can you could go on YouTube and search Kobe Bryant highlights and put that up there.
Literally.
On
it's already there.
It was to the point where on the back of my man's shirt you're seeing James 23. So at what point do you look at it and then go, by the way, Kobe Bryant's not in any of this video? Why is that? Where is that thought process? It has to be intentional to me.
They can get away with it. That's the problem. Black people at the bottom of the barrel. We always, until black people stop investing in Gucci, stop investing in Louis Vuitton. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying you can't have all the finer things. And this is what ZZ Mills was saying as well. We need to collectively come together and put money into creating our own platforms. You see with America,
like the Jewish community. That's why the Jewish community.
Like the Jewish community do. The Asian community are strong. You know, we've got Bollywood and stuff like that. but the thing is with Americans have BET. There's so many programs going on BET. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but BET. Yeah, but I think people are cancelling BET because BET is white owned.
Really?
What? Swear down. Okay, but what I'm saying is they still had a platform where
but you're right.
A lot of black shows. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I didn't even know that, so that's mad to think. But we also we need our own platforms, and this is the problem. A lot of people want to say, "Oh, I stand with Simon" and all that, but they don't want to put the work in to change things.
Yeah,
right.
And it's about supporting people, and that's my problem.
Like, in answer to your question, Shaq, is it intentional or not? I feel like, being completely honest, I don't think we will ever really know the truth. However, the fact that this has happened on so many different occasions, I have never, ever seen it. It may have happened, but I've never seen it happen with an artist that's not black. Like, I've never once seen them say, Professor Green's dropped an album and they put a picture of example. I've never, ever seen it happen, bro. Yeah. On several times, I'll go on Twitter and I'll see, for example, Kerry Brighton dying, put a picture of LeBron James. Stormzy dropping the album, they put a picture of Lukaku. Riley getting banned off social, then they put a picture of Kane. And that's just 3 recent examples. Do you know what I mean? And it's been happening. And I even saw a tweet by, I don't know her name, but she was a writer at BBC. No, it was a gentleman. He was a writer at BBC and he was writing an article and he asked the people that were in charge, he's like, look, I'm writing an article about our culture. I need to use the N-word in my article. And they told him no. He said, you can't use that word in his piece, straight up to him. And then they've allowed these 2 white broadcasters to use it in their whatever not.
That's the thing.
In terms of the pictures and whatnot, for me, that comes across as intentional. That cannot be a mistake. There's too much information on the internet to get that wrong. That is, for me, it's physically impossible. But the N-word thing, I think once again, that's also intentional, in my opinion. But we'll never know when
it's intentional, but they know they can get away with it. It's triggering. That's why I say it's systematic racism. It's been going on for so long. So that's the thing. They can get away with it. Do you know what I mean? With black people, because black people we didn't have all these platforms before where we can cancel a show. I think it was last time like 19,000 complaints, and it took for that. Even then, it took for Sideman to quit, and then. But it took But my thing is, I think there was one other journalist that came out and said something, and there's a woman called, is it London? What's her name? Lauren Hughes or London? Something.
I saw yeah.
She came out and she said, "I'm gonna need people to stand up, the black people that work for the BBC," and it's true. If they all said, someone said, if they all said I ain't coming into work today, what the BBC gonna do? If they all say I'm not working, what happens then? Why is it only Sideman losing his job?
Can I flip that as well? If every person of colour in the BBC building, and I'm talking from DJs to janitors, from the top to the bottom, if every person of colour decided to cut in one day, that's a big problem. That's a massive problem.
It's a massive problem for them.
Man.
Yeah.
So I just think that gratitude to make progress, innit?
Yeah. I just think my thing with BBC is that I feel like the only opinion that they care about are these old straight white men. I saw a thing on Twitter the other day where while this was happening, another black woman who used to work for the BBC. She was saying that I think she had a show on BBC Sounds, and the producer said that she couldn't say "oh my god" because it might offend some people, and she couldn't say the word queer, even though she was I think she's a queer person.
Yeah, she's gay.
Yeah. So but it's fine for these white people to say the N-word twice in 1 week, in 1 week, and it's okay to make all these stupid mistakes. The amount of We're talking about countless mistakes that have only happened this year. All these mistakes are this year. So, like, the fact that we can't get an apology first time, just like straight up, we know that was wrong, sorry. It's always like, there's always a defense. Oh, the family said they wanted people to know exactly what happened. That's, regardless of whatever the family wanted, you have to understand that certain things you say on TV will offend certain people, regardless of what your intention was behind it, which kind of sounds like bullshit anyway. But yeah, it's very strange. Like, even if you go, oh, they want the exact words said. Why was it a white person saying it? If that's the case, why don't you go?
They wanted to say it with their chest. That was their excuse.
I think
building up in them for like years, and they've been waiting to say, "I just want to say nigga." So like,
in the mirror, that broadcaster was in the mirror saying,
Jack, that's the title of this episode. I just want to say and stop. I just want to.
She must have, I bet she said it and just like, you know, like when it cuts off, because obviously it's just all the like voiceover, isn't it? Nigga. Yes. 100%.
Can
I just run that? Can I just say that one more time? I'm not sure I got that right. Can I just do another take? 67 takes later, got it all out of the system.
And as well, like you could tell she was loving it. She didn't just say it, you know.
Yeah, she took her time.
She said it with feeling.
Yeah. She gave the journalist pause. She went, and they called him. She's been waiting for this. She went.
Come like a recital, you know.
And it, Negro. And it,
literally. I'm so done, man. So done.
But you know what? I can ask you a question about why that's all right to be said and not queer and whatnot. This is gonna. I always have conversation with people about this, innit? And I do partly think a lot of it is our own fault. And I always say this. I only very recently, maybe over the last year or so, I've changed my mind. I've been like looking into some stuff, but I generally think our own community do not help ourselves when it comes to that specific racial slur. That racial slur has now become so normalized within day-to-day speech, within music, within television, within comedy, within any sort of entertainment platform you can think of. That racial slur has now become so normalized that it's technically not even, no, it is technically a racial slur, but it is no longer seen that it doesn't hold the same weight as other words in it. And in my opinion, that's only down to us, to our community. Just I know that people said, "Oh, we took ownership of the word and whatnot from the slave owners."
But then we didn't really.
It's African American.
Like you can't just take back ownership of a word like that has so much history. Like it goes back to
strong meaning. That word, it's like take it back to a couple of years back. I think Kendrick Lamar. You know, he brought someone on stage. You can't have a song that's got the N word. I mean, after every single sentence, and then expect this. I don't know, even if they don't say it in front of their black friends, these white people, they are saying it at home with their family, with their friends, when it's in their community. Take it out. Do you know what I mean? You're educated people. You don't need to say the N word in your music.
I hate it, brother.
And why would you want to use that word? That word is so powerful. That's what they use to call us. Do you know what I mean? That's what will get you angry. Yeah. So it is so normalized now, and it's in every song. But I don't know, man. UK don't really say it too much like that.
Sure, like you lot. I'm sure we all kind of grew up listening to black music and a lot of rap music, and I know Shaq's really into rap. And I remember at least until the age of like 21, 22, I was just comfortable saying it in rap music. I didn't care where I was. I could be on a bus, I could be in a club. I'll just say it because I'm listening to a song. And then I had to really think to myself that how can I sit here and get angry and let someone call me that and get vexed when I have just been here? Technically not giving them permission, but I've been saying it so consistently that every sense of weight to that word is gone, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Like Chris Brown and Lil Dicky, bruv. Like we all heard that song every night out. That song's active, bruv.
My days. They look at you dead in the eye in the club. What's up, man? Nigga? What's up, man? Times in the club.
No, man.
They love it. So you're right, Michael, man. You're right.
No, man. It touches me differently. I don't really like it. It's a tricky one. I hate it. But
I kind of my stance on it is like, if you feel the need to say it in all your songs or all your well, fine. For me, I think I grew up thinking, it's fine, it is what it is. Like I kind of feel a bit weird saying this, like in even admitting it. I remember when I'm with my mates, like, do you know what? My white friends be like, do you know what? If you're just singing a song, like I don't really mind too much. Like don't make a habit of saying it. But if you're just singing a song, it is what it is. I don't really care because I'm gonna sing it the same way. But now I've got older, I'm like, I should have told them that it was okay, because really, it's just because I'm growing up in a situation where I'm one of a few black people anyway, so I'm just kind of saying whatever like the okay thing is to say, so I still have friends. Do you know what I mean? So it's a weird one. Like I feel like now I've got older, like there's no way I could even hear certain people.
Yeah, was that word used a lot in Jamaica when you were growing up?
Nah, I wouldn't say that's a word that's really used frequently. You might hear it in a song or two, but not like general in like day-to-day, speaking. Not really, nah.
I reckon we probably say it more here than they do in JA. And like, that's weird because how much closer JA is to
Africa,
America, to us.
And America,
So it's weird. It's weird. I think we're a lot more influenced by American culture, whereas I find American culture is more influenced by Jamaican culture. especially like New York and like dancehall and stuff is like massive in New York and stuff.
But Americans really say it. Americans really say it. Americans love that.
They say that.
Every sentence, every film. It's a lot, man.
I think it's a part of like the way they've been coded, though. I feel like when I actually think about it, like how many times does someone say the N-word to another black person and say it in a way that's like, I'm lifting you? The amount of times people use an argument of like, we've taken it and now it's an uplifting thing. How many times do people go like,
it's not uplifting.
What you talking about, nigga? You're talking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That don't sound like. It sounds like you've been brainwashed into thinking that like anything less than a human is a nigger. So I'm gonna call you this to make you feel like this. They're very rare. The most thing you get is like, what's my nigga? Yeah, that's my boy.
There's Washington in it in training day. I mean,
but like But a lot of it is kind of like, it'll be like, oh, if I'm coming for you, making a little joke about where I'm dropping the M-word, calling you this. So I don't think we've ever really taken it and used it as a way to uplift people. I think we've kind of taken it and just done exactly the same thing that white people were doing with it. But now we're saying white people can't use it. And then the white people get pissed off because like they feel like you've taken their fucking favorite sweet away from them, and they get all. I remember once sat in a RE lesson. This got nothing to do with the M word, bro. I'm sat in an RE lesson, and a boy puts hands up. I'm saying year 10, so I'm about 14, 15, and I think we're asking about like what's going. Like he said, the RE teacher said like whatever questions you have, like there's no wrong questions. We'll just answer every question because it's RE, and we just want to learn about everyone. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, cool. And then. Swear down, me, 14 years old, that's old enough to not ask this question. This boy puts hand up. Why is it that black people can say the M-word and we can't? I was like, why are you so upset? Why does that hurt you so much? Why does that piss you off so much? And I was like, no one should say it, bro. But I just think
it's cringe, you know, because I remember being in school. Oh, this when I moved to Essex, and I was only black boy in my year, and I remember the teacher. You know, we've all probably read Of Mice and Men, and that nigga was used a lot because it was during that era. And this English teacher is reading this confidently, and she was reading it, and I was just there like, and she said it cash. And you know when you get people to read, obviously, because teachers get people to read, and people were just saying it cash. I was thinking, and wow, I remember just thinking, I don't have a voice.
You got kids like this. You know the next line is
You know what I mean? Like,
thank you, miss.
This is the problem. So, and it's that word is the weight it holds. But I remember being on tour, like the tour I did, the last tour I did, and. When the change room, it was before a show, and this guy was rapping to this song, and he said the M-word. Swear down. And the change room just went quiet. And I was just like, wait,
just a shift in
did he just say what? I think he said. And he was like, what? It's in the song? Then he grabbed his food and then he walked out. I was just like,
so, bro, the fact
he dipped out quick. He dipped out.
I actually know what to say.
He didn't even say it with his chest and firm there. I said, yeah, man said that. Man said, yeah, it's in the song, and he cut. Bro, listen, the fact that made the whole dressing room so awkward in the first place is enough to show you. That's enough to show you that, look, this isn't something that's light. It's not light, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, it is light enough that people can say it on BBC and defend it. It's that light nowadays. I hate to admit it, but it's really that light nowadays. And unfortunately, there's no other, I don't know, any other community or any other race where they have racial slur that is that light. That gets said. That gets said.
Yeah, no,
I may be oblivious to it because I'm from England, but anyone comments, let me know. I don't know.
I've never known a community to take a word that's been used against them and just use it like to their mates and just go, it's my brethren, But I do think it's, again, for us, it's us taking from American culture. I don't say Western culture, we're Western culture, but taking from American culture what is deemed okay there, but that's only deemed okay because the white man has told you it's okay to use this word or people you don't like or you think are less or not worth your time or less than a human, less than a man. So I just feel like it's a lot of, I think particularly the States, they have a lot of unlearning to do. A lot of the most workers people come from America. Don't kill me off, don't cancel me. I'm kind of generalizing a little bit, but I'm just saying based off what I see on TV. I might be wrong. And if you don't like my opinion, I don't business anyway.
So you, man.
As well, with the outside, go on.
No, let's say, you go, Pierre, you go.
I was gonna say as well with that. A lot of the time, the argument with white people is that why are black people allowed to say it and I can't? And I feel like that's more of a thing of they're saying I want to say it, not black people shouldn't. Do you know?
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the thing. It's not really the thought process. Is like,
you're right.
Why are
you're
you
right.
saying that?
Exactly
why are black people saying that? Do you remember what?
Yeah, it's like
what
I want to say it.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's not like
it's that when you can't have something, you want it even more, even if you didn't want it in the first place. They might not even care about the word, but from the minute they said, "Wait, what? We can't say that." So they're down, but we're meant to be that race. Nah, we want to say that now. You know what I'm saying? So
but that's the whole thing. I feel like every time someone outside of the white demographic, the white community, as soon as they do something to lift their culture up, like this a Stormzy line. That's Wade did his scholarship for black kids in Cambridge. It's like, that's not anti-white, it's pro-black. There's the second line when he talked about it in his song, I think his Crown. That's not anti-white, it's pro-black.
Yeah.
There are so many situations where we do something and it's treated as like an anti-white movement, and the media will push this anti-white movement, even though it's not about that ever. How can Black Lives Matter? How can that equate to you that we're saying black people are more important than anyone else?
Right.
We're saying our lives matter as much as
a sense of entitlement. It's a sense of entitlement.
It's a sense of entitlement and fear that you're going to lose your status as the
superior race or whatnot. Bruv, you're telling me like you're not even the majority of students that get into Cambridge and Oxford are really, really not from ethnic minority backgrounds, and this person is using his wealth, which is the same kind of people you will talk to about taking pay cuts when coronavirus happens. But forget that. But my man's using his wealth to do a scholarship scheme for and the publishing company. Bruv. So anyway, sorry, I've lost it. But flipping, but yeah, then man will say that's they're racist, and I'm like, okay, cool, listen. For you to say that's racist, like I said before, that's a sense of entitlement, and that's just so much ignorance, bro. Because that's all that is inclusion. It's not excluding anyone, because you might not already included. All it is including ourselves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And why? But anyway, but yeah. But my question to you, man, was
it's like with that, they're looking at what he's doing and not why he's doing it. Do you understand?
Yeah. Exactly.
The question is, why does he have to do that in the first place? That's
because
what.
Exactly. I mean? That's the question. Really, I shouldn't have to be thinking about losing my money doing this for people, even though it's not. I know he doesn't see it as that, but it's really, I shouldn't be having to spend my money doing this. You should be bringing in these working class people and giving them your own scholarships with your big Cambridge money, your big Oxford money.
Exactly.
So really, like you say, the question is, why is this guy having to do this right now?
Yeah. Exactly. Not because black people don't get those opportunities often enough. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Absolutely
so that's the whole reason why. And if he wasn't doing it, then who would?
Exactly.
You know?
There we go.
My question to you lot is, my question to you guys is, moving forward, how would you man suggest that this gets better? Because for me, like I said, the N-word was something that I would not use frequently, but I didn't think twice about. Do you know what I mean? Especially using it myself until very recently, until like the last year. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of how do we move forward and how do we now do the unlearning and implement the conditioning to other people? Maybe it's a generational thing or whatnot, but I've said to my man in my group chat, like, yo, it's me, man, I'm not trying to hear that word anymore. I prefer if you didn't call me that. I mean, I'm not going to call you that. Do you know what I mean? If you want to spit it in your lyrics, to spit it in your bars, fair play, I'm not going to cuss you or whatnot. But from now, I'm just letting you know, I ain't calling you that. And I prefer it if you call me just bro, king, whatever, Michael. I'm not trying to hear that word, innit? Yeah. So how would you man suggest that we moving forward?
I think
not fix it, but take steps.
I think it's very similar to what you said, mate. I think it's just a matter of, if you're in that position where, like, I'm not trying to hear that anymore around me. I really try not to say it. Like, I know for me, like, I was so in a like American culture. When everyone was listening to grime and stuff, I was banging hip hop. But we'll talk about it a bit more when we go into the grown up stuff. But so like really, my whole culture was quite American. So like the N word was just like, I was saying that from probably about 14 to my brethren and stuff. Like, so like for me, it's a matter of like, it might slip out my mouth when I'm talking to one of my close brethren, but I'm trying not to say it as much as possible.
And that's the thing, Bob.
I'm trying not to,
Do you know what I mean? It's not like, I've got a Y in my brain, I can cut it out and never say it again. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones where you just got to try day by day and just fix it very slowly, innit? Like, I'm not going to
trying to like, and I say, I'm trying to cut out my music. I'm trying to cut it out just my general everyday speech to my mates and my boys them. So I'm just trying to like, I think the best way of reclaiming it is by taking it back and throwing it away and just leave it.
Yeah,
then,
I think the only way that word can be like abolished, I think, or banned, is if a black person, not a white person, because it's always the white people saying, "Oh yeah, no one should use that word." But if a black person comes forward and the black community comes forward and says, "You know what? Let's actually get a petition. Let's actually cancel this word. No one should say it." I think that's the only way, because that's going to continue to be put in music. And when you're in a club, it's that uncomfortable feeling when you're in a club. Let's say a predominantly white club. Let's say, for instance, that you guys know when you've been on tour, when you're going around the country, like Pierre, you will know as well. Yeah. When you're doing different gigs and let's say you want to go out in Glasgow or whatever, you're going to a hip hop club there. Predominantly people are going to be white there, and they will say it. Do you know what I mean? They will say it. You're not going to catch everyone. You're not going to be like this, looking around the dance floor. Don't say it.
Could you imagine
Freaky Friday comes on, just got you like.
Hey, can you imagine everyone simultaneously blanking out their N-word at the same time? Everyone just spitting their bars and just going, "What's up, man? What's up, man? Chilling, man."
Yeah, someone's definitely saying it.
Do you know what I mean? It all happen. I see people do it, and they look around. It's uncomfortable.
If we're gonna say that, like the way I've kind of gone about it is like, cool. I don't want to say it to me, but at the same time, I can't now use other racial slurs in terms of jokes either. And let me clarify that. When I say that, I'm not saying that I use racial slurs anyway. But for example, the way Claude from AFTV said that son with a DVD man, for example, stuff like that, or like chinky, or the P word for Indians that people say that's not very nice, or like Jews that have a. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if we're on this flex of no one should say that word, then no racial slurs in general should be used either. And I'm saying this, it should be the same for everyone.
The thing is, they shouldn't be used. It's as simple as that.
I can only talk for my race. I mean, I can't talk if them are not comfortable with them being called that. Do you know what I mean?
Like, clearly not, because no one ever says it in music.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know what's funny? With let's say the Asian community, I'm talking more like Indians, the Pakistani community, all that. When you go places around Europe, they will call each other that P word. They will like even the people in the hotel, they'll go to the P shop down the road. When I was trying to get like a ticket to go on the train, they're like, you go to the P shop. White people don't say it casually in Italy.
Scotland, they'll just drop it.
Yeah, they'll just it's cash. Right. Like it's cash. I was like, right. That's the thing. They used to say that in school. In school, they say it all the time. It's mad.
I used to hear it about school as well, but I feel like. Actually, I remember hearing it once. Bro, your lighting went mad, you know. It looked like you had the Holy Spirit in your room, bro.
Me?
No, me. My lighting went bad.
I've got the sun now.
I said the Holy Spirit.
No, it was Fred. You had that little glitz. I was like,
the little dump thing.
Man got resurrected in Fred's house. Okay, Essex.
Let's go on to it.
Let's talk about growing up. So obviously we all are kind of old now. Old. I'm the youngest, obviously. You can see it from my pretty face.
Sweet boy.
Sweet sir. But I just wanted to compare different what it was like growing up for people, because I know obviously people like Michael, you were born North London, and you moved to
born North London, big time, okay.
Fred, you're from Essex. Pierre, where are you from?
No, I was born in East London, bro.
But you were born in East London, but you now live in Essex. Yeah. And you were born in JA.
Me, I was born in Coventry. Yeah.
Oh, in Coventry. And then
Coventry. I should have known that. Looking terrible.
Midlands.
Terrible. I was born in Cov, and then I went to Jamaica to live for the first time when I was 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had a bit of everything, everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. School's different. School's different in Jamaica. I beg you speak on school in Jamaica.
Oh yeah, school is different. I mean, like when I first started going to school, I think now it's not really happening, but like the teachers were allowed to hit the kids. Yeah. So it was peak. Like if you were rude, then you get
you're getting it. Yeah. Well, I remember
I was quite well behaved at school, so it was a rare occurrence for me though.
Yeah. Not trying to get licked. Not trying to get licks. No.
Man, get that home already. Not to get home.
It's bad enough. It's bad enough. Imagine getting licks more than going to school, getting licks, go home more licks.
That's what I mean.
Big. Yeah, bro. What was that? Do you remember? Because I remember very distinctly. Because I never grew up in Jamaica. I never spent a very long, over a year. Well, I spent weeks in Jamaica. But I remember once I went there during school term, and this was back when you were allowed to go on holiday during school term. Now you can't do that at school at all. Right. But I remember going down to JA and my cousin, Devonte. Shout out to Devonte. I don't know if you're still in Nottingham. Hit me up, cuz. But yeah, so I ended up going to school with my cousin Devonte, and remember the lady came up to me and she was so nice to me, you know. She was proper nice. So I'm thinking it's gonna be a really good day at school, man. I thought like it's hot weather, it's warm. I'm like, I've never been to school in Jamaica. This is a mad experience. Then I saw some kid backchat the teacher and get one ruler to the back of his head. And I went, oh. I was like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut from now on. I didn't say nothing. The rest of the school, I didn't do nothing. I went there, I didn't do nothing in trouble. Cousin was like, oh, do you want to go over there? I was like, are we allowed to go over there? Will we get in trouble if we actually walk into the bathroom? I have to ask for the toilet. I'm not really too sure what we should do. Me in it, a couple of little Oxford boys right at the time. Like, this is like before like even like Lion King. So like when I was younger, this is Oxford. Like I'm proper posh back then. I'm not sure about what the protocol is. Like, can I do this without getting? I was just scared the whole rest of the school.
Talking of Oxford for both Shaq and Pierre. When you went to Jamaica, did they look at you different as the English Jamaican you? Because I know in the African culture, when you go there from England, they're like, you're not really nice, though, are you? You're not really Jamaican. I mean,
they used to just call me English. My cousins in Jamaica.
Enough people used to call me English as well. Because
I was dead. English.
Because like my grandma's side of the family's from St. Thomas, so I was living with her. Oh. And even like I just be walking up the road, people shouting, "Yo, English!" It's like they greet me like I'm a big man. These times I'm 7. They're like, "Yo, English!" I'm just like, man.
Oh, man. One thing I will say about Jamaican schools is their educational system is, from what I've kind of grasped and from what I've learned, especially even like during the Windrush generation, that education system was better than the UK one. When I was young and at school, I knew it was up the same level, or like sometimes actually a bit better than the UK schools were doing, and so academically. You see, like you hear about the Windrush generation, so many people turn up from the Caribbean as like qualified doctors and all this stuff, and they couldn't get a job because these men that want to employ these overqualified people, so they ended up like working at factories and stuff. But so I just feel like that I think now I look at it back as a whole experience of like, yeah, that school was actually really good. And I actually remember learning more than I'd learned at my own school that one day. Maths was easy that day. I don't know what happened.
Cool.
Maths was...
Would you man take your children to school in Jamaica?
It's hard one though, because you got to think about yourself as well. That's not just saying, oh, I'm not going to just ship my son off to Jamaica to go to school. What I mean? Or my daughter, you know what I mean? Innit? Yeah,
man. As well, I feel like with Jamaica as well, it's like the kids are more advanced with a lot of other things. So it's like they'll get exposed to certain things that they're not supposed to be exposed to probably earlier than they would in England. Maybe not today because of social media, but especially back when I was growing, like I had to kind of grow up quicker, a lot earlier and I was exposed to certain things that I wouldn't really be exposed to if I was in England. Do you know what I mean? Even like at a young age, you'll see like a 5-year-old just, whining a gal. You know what I mean? Like these things happen.
But even like past like just even whining, I think when I go to JA,
whining a gallon.
Yeah, it's like literally like when I go JA, I'm from Discovery Bay, that's where my grandparents are from. And my other grandparents are from Kingston. But when I go back, I always go to Discovery Bay, and I go up to a place called Tickets where my grandparents kind of grew up. And I just remember there's a lot more responsibility given to a young Jamaican child. There's lots of things that you're required to do from an early age that you're not necessarily able to do, not necessarily entrusted to do even at the age when we're in a UK school. Because really, like, I can't remember having a responsibility really other than like cleaning up and stuff until I was about 16. Do you know what I mean? Like 14, 15, 16. And I'm not saying either way is a bad way. I'm just kind of painting a picture that is very, as you say, I think like Jamaican children exposed to a lot more at a much earlier age.
Yeah, especially if you're an older sibling as well.
Yeah.
I've got like cousins. I remember like growing up with them, and like the older siblings, they might even be like 11, 12, 13. They're looking after the younger ones that are 3, 4, 5, and 6 while the mum is out. They're cooking, they're washing clothes, cleaning, everything.
Picking up from school, everything.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
So, what was school like for you, Fred? How did you find the whole school experience like?
School was just, I guess, I've got 2 older siblings and a younger sibling as well. So they went to school. They set their president. So I knew the punishments that are coming. Do you know what I mean? Because I had seen
the consequences.
I had seen.
Right. So you're prepared.
So I went to school. I went to school in East London, St. Bonaventure in Forest Gate. That's where I went up until I think year 9. Then my dad got a job in Essex, so we moved the family out to Rayleigh. I'm talking about deep in the countryside now, like, you know what I mean? So I remember my brother said, Rayleigh, it's near Southend.
Rayleigh.
So yeah, we were like, and then I was thinking, right, this is like new. This is like what? So obviously we must have moved now, and so I've gone from a all-boys school, Catholic all-boys school, where it's rather there's swingers like most days, or it's just like, you know what I mean, boisterous boys.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean, chicken and chip shops every corner, to Rayleigh, where the station's a walk away, like everything's far. Luckily, trust me. But where I live, my school was literally down the road, so there was no. You know what I mean, so and then it was only black boy in my year, but school was calm. Like I think I got more freedom when I moved to Essex because my dad and my mum were like, okay, we're in Essex, it's safe for you. You can go about. So I remember, I was getting I went to a mixed school. So I remember girls knocking on my door. So I'm like, yeah, can Fred come and play out? In my yard, bro. Because I lived in the school. I could see the school from my house. So they were knocking on my door like, yeah. They're knocking on my door, yeah, can Fred come out? And my parents were like, yeah. I was like, what? I can go out. Because I wasn't allowed that anything. I wasn't allowed out. People were playing in the streets. They'll do what they, and I didn't really get to go out like that. So when we moved to Essex, I was thinking, this freedom. So when they were taking me to like all these like, you know, all these foresty parks and all that, and then going to parties like and then people drinking alcohol. I'm thinking, if I even touch it, because I've been brought up that, listen, you're not a follower, you're a leader, so my ass will get whooped if I was doing madness like that. But school was fun, man. I enjoyed school. I didn't, even though like being the only black boy in my year, I didn't experience like racism like that in terms of, I don't think anyone tried. I guess I had one party and then everyone met my brother. So
you're that guy. You're that guy.
So they met my brother and they were like, oh, is that your brother? I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, yeah, he looks well, you know, white boys. So they didn't try it. They didn't try it. And even in school, like the older guys in the other years, like my brother was he was in this group of guys that they would just terrorize the teachers. So when I was in East London, the teachers knew me for like, Mr. Martin, like, do you know what I mean? That's my, like, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, they knew straight away. So I was a good guy though. I didn't, not too much stress, but school was good, a good experience for me, man. What about you, Michael?
Quick question: did you find that transition into? You were quite young actually doing that transition from not private but boys' school to mixed school. How did you find that? I guess it probably might not be when you're quite young. That kind of transition doesn't really matter because you're young anyway, so you'll kind of talk to anyone. But I've found in like Oxford, it might even be more the fact that these schools are like kind of like private schools as well. I remember going like, I used to, because I've been in theatre my whole life. A lot of like upper middle class people. I've got a lot of very good friends who are kind of middle class, upper middle classy kind of vibes. And I used to go to a lot of parties at there was an all girls school called Oxford High School, and there was an all boys school called Magdalen College. And I used to turn up to these parties. I had friends at one school, friends at the other school, and I had my own friends. We had public school. We were like mixed schools. But I always found that we were a lot more capable of talking to the girls than the boys were, the ones from Magdalen, the ones that were, and these are like, and I have a lot of good friends at Magdalen, but a lot of you lot, kind of come off as wankers in public. They could, you know, people are like, oh yeah, I've got this, I've got that. My father was like, my father was Angus, have you done this? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what they were like. I remember one time, this was how bad they were at talking to girls. Yeah, I remember one time I'm at a party and this girl I think was chatting to another guy and they weren't really sure what was going on. And it was getting a bit weird. And he comes over to her, and this is the word that come out of this man's mouth. He goes on, I'm gonna make up a name because I don't want to fuck any of them people up. Hey Charlotte, I don't want to be gay or anything, but can we talk? Man said, I don't want to be gay or anything, but can we talk? Like, yeah, like that's where their mentality was from. To be sensitive or to be able to communicate, I just felt like there was such a difference for me. Like I grew up in a mixed school, so like for me, like I'm used to just having a conversation with girls. Like no issue. Like, I'll talk to a girl as my mate. I'll talk to a girl I fancy. It's fine either way. But I found when it got to the point of like everyone's getting older now, and like some people are starting to have sex, some of them man didn't know what they were doing. But they would talk the talk. You know, they talk the talk because they go to a boys' school. So you know, what the boys do as they grow up is chat the chat. Really, these men are talking the hardest. Shout out to Gigs, man. But they had no source. They had zero source.
Now the boys in East London were doing that. When I was in my old boys' school, they were doing madness from what my eyes were seeing. You know, them days of them video, them Nokias, that some weird shaped Nokia. I remember them days. You can see them video recordings and stuff. They were doing madness from school. I was a good boy, but yeah, the transition, you know, for me, when I have children, I want them to go to mixed school because I feel like it sets you up learning how to, when you're comfortable with women around you from young, it sets you how to talk to women, how to treat with you. I mean, I think from young you need to be around. I think you need to be around opposite sex because when you're in just the same sex schools, I think sometimes, you know, girls sometimes get too gassed. Boys as well get too gassed. You don't, like you said, sometimes you don't know how to talk. Do you know what I mean? All you're thinking is horny 24/7 as you're a kid when you're growing your hormones. When you're in a mixed school, I think it's a lot better in my opinion. I think, you know, from young you're
100.
You know what I mean? You're comfortable with the opposite sex.